My nurse sister diagnosed me as a failure to our family, so I gave her a career-ending prognosis. I grew up in a family where needing medication meant you were broken, and only perfect daughters deserved love. So when my sister discovered my ADHD diagnosis, she treated it like a loaded gun she couldn't wait to fire. My parents worshipped her for saving lives at the hospital while I struggled through my first semester, desperately trying to focus on lectures that felt like they were in a foreign language. The day I finally went to the University Health Center for help, I thought I was taking control of my life, until Thanksgiving Day, when she casually mentioned how concerned she was about all these college kids abusing stimulants these days, while staring directly at me across the table, then added something that made my blood run cold, especially the extended release ones, the ones that last 12 hours and come in those distinctive orange capsules. My parents nodded along, completely oblivious, but I knew exactly what Vyvanse looked like, and so did she. I spent the rest of dinner panicking about whether I'd left my medication where she could find it by accident. By Christmas, her attacks had escalated into targeted psychological warfare. She'd go on long rants about how these kids on Adderall and Vyvanse are basically legal meth heads, and how she'd seen kids turn into zombies who can't function without their drugs. She'd look right at me while describing how these students were taking the easy way out instead of developing real discipline. My parents ate up every word I sat there with my heart racing, terrified she'd reveal my secret. She detonated her bomb at Easter dinner with our entire extended family gathered, including grandparents who believed depression was just laziness in disguise. Sarah waited until everyone was seated and announced with a concern, "Did you all know she's been taking Vyvanse for months now? 30 milligrams of amphetamines every single day just to get through her classes." The room erupted as she continued about campus doctors handing out ADHD diagnoses like candy, while my father slammed the table and my mother sobbed about raising a junkie. My grandmother called me a pill-popping disgrace, while Sarah kept twisting the knife. My father roared, "We're done paying for your education unless you stop being a druggie right now. If you'd achieved anything real like your sister, you wouldn't need to fake disabilities for pills." They banished me from the table with promises to talk later, but I knew what that meant as Sarah smiled her perfect nurse smile. What tore me apart was how she knew things she couldn't possibly know, like my dosage increase when I kept my medication locked in my dorm. But then during one particularly vicious rant, she said something that made my blood freeze. "These dramatic students claim they spend 6 hours reading the same paragraph over and over. Such pathetic excuses for being lazy." My entire family burst out laughing while my uncle added, "6 hours on one paragraph? That's not ADHD, that's just stupid." I'd said those exact words to the front desk receptionist just last week when begging for an emergency appointment, explaining why I was failing my favorite literature class, and that's when it hit me that someone at the health center was feeding her information. One night, after a few glasses of wine, I tested my theory by laughing about the whole thing. "That 6-hour paragraph thing was so specific, Sarah. It's like you have a spy at my school." I giggled, pouring her another glass while secretly recording on my phone. She leaned in conspiratorially, drunk and thrilled I was finally seeing things her way, and confessed that her best friend from college, Lisa, worked the front desk at the University Health Center. "Yeah, Lisa recognized your name when you checked in and texts me everything. She told me about you crying at the desk about reading the same paragraph for hours," she slurred, bragging about how Lisa kept her updated on all my appointments and medication changes. I kept laughing while my phone captured every word. Then she gave me the real ammunition, saying she was just looking out for me by having Lisa monitor my file and check my progress throughout college. And I thanked her for her concern while she basked in her superiority, completely unaware I had everything I needed. She thought my silence meant shame and submission, but she had no idea what was already in motion. 2 weeks later, the investigation I'd initiated revealed that Sarah and Lisa had been systematically violating HIPAA by sharing protected health information about dozens of patients. Lisa was fired immediately and faced criminal charges for accessing and sharing confidential medical records, while Sarah's nursing license was revoked permanently for receiving and using illegally obtained patient information. The hospital fired Sarah within days, and word spread through the medical community blacklisting her from any healthcare position. The best part came months later at Sarah's July birthday party, where I showed up uninvited and grabbed a champagne glass. "I'd like to make a toast to the birthday girl," I announced as everyone turned to see me. "To Sarah, who's taking a break from nursing. Here's hoping she finds someone willing to hire her again. Though I hear that's tough when you've lost your license for sharing patients' medical information." My parents' faces went from shock to horror while Sarah stood frozen with her birthday cake. "Some mistakes end careers," I said, matching the concerned tone she'd always used with me, then walked out as her face crumbled and everyone finally realized who the real family disappointment was.